So hello, I'm Saifedean, studio manager of Level Up Studios and martial arts instructor. I teach Introduction to Southern Kung Fu and Eastern philosophy. Today, we're going to learn about the fundamentals of Kung Fu vocabulary by talking about basic stance and posture. So the first thing I want to share that's really important to Wing Chun, if not almost all forms of Kung Fu, is a principle called the 5 line principles. So the 5 lines are your center line, your chest lines, and your shoulder lines. So everything exists within this space. Whenever you move, you don't go outside that space. You conserve all your energy and stay within the space. If anybody wants to intercept your personal space, touch your shoulder, touch your chest, touch your face, they have to come through these 5 lines. And the most important line to pay attention to is the center line. So a lot of techniques are designed to own that space. So for instance, a basic Wing Chun posture, the arm is in the middle. By it being in the middle, it is technically in all these other positions already. You're already safeguarding all these other positions within the 5 lines just by sitting inside the center line or sitting in your pocket. By keeping your arms or any of your offensive body parts in the center line, you own that space. And you only have to use basic gestures in order to remove any projectile, which would be a kick or a punch. For example, this basic movement, but even with this, I bring the hand over and use my wrist to turn it into a hook, which allows me to control the space. But at the same time, I'm making simple gestures and I'm conserving my energy because Wing Chun was designed as a countering system. It was designed in a time where there were a lot of other forms of Kung Fu that were transforming and mixing with each other. And the Southern Shaolin Temple wanted to create something that was very simple, straight to the point, that could counteract other systems. A lot of times today, especially with mixed martial arts, Wing Chun practitioners will get a lot of bad flack for not being good enough for the octagon. And most of it is because the system in itself is a countering system. Now, it has militarized techniques, but it's designed to kind of deal with varying, changing conditions. So it's not kind of like the objective of the practitioner of Wing Chun to exert themselves forward. It's always to take energy inwards, to move that energy that's coming towards you, more so than trying to come outwards. In one of my forms, you will see me open up into a horse stance and open up into a bow stance, which is a form of Kung Fu called Hung Ga, which is like classical Shaolin, 5 animals, 5 elements, stuff we see in a lot of old Kung Fu movies. The thing about that form of Kung Fu is it's very masculine, very electrical. It charges, it pushes, it kind of can exhaust the practitioner. While Wing Chun is closed inside and it's kind of waiting for some energy to come its way so it can move that energy. While Hung Ga is like really pushing all your muscles in all these different directions. And I teach them both so that they can complement each other. For example, if I was in a situation where I was fighting a number of individuals, I would want to use Wing Chun if they were coming at me. Now let's just say I had to use Hung Ga because they were really aggressive and I needed to move around a lot. Eventually I'm gonna get tired. And that's when I go from doing all these movements to coming inside and staying in my circle and waiting for my opponent to come to me. It's really important for a lot of people to understand, especially for Wing Chun, that it's a counter system that requires you to move energy around, to be very aware of the energy that's available to you. So for example, in Wing Chun, we have a lot of wrist techniques. These wrist techniques seem like they're simple, and they are. And the important part about this is that there are pockets of space all around us where your wrist can turn that little bit of space into power. So you might be right here and the hand comes here and you just pop that wrist, or you pop it over there, or you pop it up, or you pop it down. A fist comes here, you block it. Another one comes, you block it up. Another one there, you block it there. But there's such minor gestures to preserve your energy because you don't know how much of it you're gonna need. And the more you save your energy, the more power you're actually able to use, because by practicing this wrist technique, you can create a lot of explosive power, and it takes time to train the wrist. You can't just try to do it. It takes time of holding your wrist here, closing it, bringing it down, opening it, close it, bring it down, and you strengthen all the muscles and tendons in your wrist so that they can withstand the blow that you would be delivering to your opponent, whether it's just from a block or from a block that turns to a strike. And it's the movement that comes up and then bow. This amount of space just got turned into power, just from here to there. All right, so I want to tell you a little bit about the first form. The first form opens up within a Wing Chun stance. It's very closed, almost like a lotus. The form, you bloom open in the form. You start off in this upward Wing Chun horse stance where you're utilizing the 5 lines, and you're utilizing all the space within those 5 lines and all the miniature gestures and techniques that fit within those 5 lines that preserve a lot of your energy and are very efficient. You'll notice in the beginning, there'll be a lot of wrist movement and you're kind of like, what is he doing? And that's me illustrating the pockets of space that exist in front of me that I can utilize to transfer that energy into momentum and into the impact. I make sure that through my movements, I stay within my 5 lines. I don't go outside my 5 lines. Even when I shift to the left or to the right, I stay within my 5 lines, which allows me, once again, to preserve energy and to be as efficient as possible. The second half of the form, I begin to open up into a horse stance. And then from the horse stance, I go into a dragon stance, and then I go into a crane stance. And most of this is really about stance transitioning, being able to shift from one stance to another as if someone's learning a new language and they want to be able to shift from one word to another word, from one sentence to another sentence. So each particular stance is like a word, and how you transition those words together allows you to create that sentence or that paragraph. So you are, for all intents and purposes, becoming bilingual, but with your body, not just verbs and nouns. And there are certain parts where I am soft, and then there are certain parts where I'm hard. And it's important to be able to interchange between being soft and being hard, because at times you may need to be both. A lot of people, Kung Fu is really intimidating. It can almost be exciting because, you know, people see all these really great movies with Jackie Chan and Jet Li, and they do all these wonderful techniques, and they're like, wow, you know, I want to be able to do that. That's too hard, or I could do that. And it's just about fighting. But from my 25 years plus experience, the most important thing that I've gotten from Kung Fu is it's taught me how to own my body, to own my personal space, and to own my energy. No matter what I'm doing, whether it's with friends, whether it's with a lover, whether it's with coworkers, I'm owning my space. And beyond owning my space, there is a process of self-mastery that you're going through. You are conditioning your character by taking the time to go through each step, learn each move, respect each gesture, and respect the levels. Because you can't be a master in one day. But how you learn to master one thing is how you learn to master all things. And if there's anything I can share with you, is that I'll give you the opportunity to take the journey of self-mastery, so that you can use this process not only for Kung Fu, but for anything that you want to master in your life. Whether it's your relationships with your friends, whether it's a new craft you're trying to learn, or a new position at your job. I'm So Saifuddin, thank you so much.